Whilst we're on subject of words meaning different things, slave, first used as the Slavs, right, Aryans, were conquered and sold into slavery. That's where it comes from. The Welsh name for Wales means not free, servile. The Slavic word for slaves in Russian is rab. Serb-Croatian is rob. The Old Slavonic is rabu and orbu, which is the root word for orphan. So orphans are slaves. And the Slavonic word is also the source of the word robot, robotic slaves. Rabbi means rab master. In other words, slave master. Oh my. Given the outing of Mr. Mnuchin, perhaps this piece will make you sit up and take notice of how they put it in your face. Pedo means boy child. Pedestry means a man sodomizing a boy and is mentioned as being okay in the Talmud. Pedophile is someone who sexually engages with children. And then we arrive at a term that's right in our face for those who look anyway, and for those who look after children. Pediatrician. I can hear the collective gulps now, and oh my God, it's in your face. These people take the piss. Next item is related to the piece of Trump putting that budget out. And it may well be a distraction piece. Time will tell. Not so much time. I think it'll be fairly soon we'll find out. But quite where he thinks a budget that is near 4 times the normal rate is coming from is beyond me. It talks about cutting aid to countries, except we all know by now that one country in particular won't be cut off from aid, will it? Egypt Mark II, now known as Israel. Military spending increase. Oh dear. The giant elephant in the room. We've still not located the 2.3 trillion Mr. Rumsfeld mentioned that has been conveniently forgotten following the incident the day after 9/11. Or the later figure of the 9.5 trillion missing, which is about 7 years American GDP, I might add. Now, I wouldn't mind if the military defended or looked after the country or its people, or even if they actually looked after the soul dyers, and I said that correctly, because that's the correct term, soul dyer. Again, right in your face, again, too easily missed. Under their command. They don't. Not one iota. Look at the veterans strewn across the country, lying on streets and under bridges, with all kinds of illness, disease, mental problems, PTSD. Just neglected. Generals sitting there with pallets of stolen dinars from Iraq, all waiting for their RV payout, and leaving the country hanging by a thread politically, geopolitically and financially. You see, to them, life's all about the Rothschilds, the dragon groups, the private contractors, and looting every other country to keep the same 3 groups running the world at our expense. Go and check out Halliburton, talking about private contractors, Tricky Dickie's group, and in particular Bechtel, and the amount of contracts they've got between them. You'll be staggered. And here's how it all works. You create a war. You then print out bonds. All bonds are war bonds. You leverage the said bonds to print out more money. You bomb the said country, rebuild it using Halliburton or Bechtel, all using the people's money. And then when the bonds, which are IOUs, are payable, pass the debt on to the people, whilst they keep all the spoils of war like pallets of dinars, dongs or zims. That's how it works. And it's time we wake up to the inherent dangers and damage the elephant in the room known as the US military, which is not America. The United States is not America. It never was. It is a European conglomerate that was created in Vienna, Austria, 1820. Cuts in Medicaid, Social Security and other welfare programmes that were announced today, more austerity for the people, whilst the system of control not only keeps its budget but increases it. Military spending went up by 34 million right the first time. Ignoring the fact that the $22 trillion debt was paid off, seems the government is now ignoring that fact also. But these measures of austerity for the people is not what was promised in the campaign, was it? 3 simple solutions will turn this country around financially and put us all on a better footing. 1. Remove all US military bases globally. They're not there for our benefit. 2. Delete several of the so-called agencies. Why do we need NSA or DHS or CIA? Take your pick. Which 2 need removing, or all 3, given they're all spying on the people. And 3, end the Fed, which it already has been done, which then ends the IRS. Was there a collection agency for the Fed? If there's no Fed, there's no need for an IRS. And then collect American people taxes that will go to this country, not some foreign siphoning system. It changes everything. Meanwhile, jobs and businesses in particular are siving fast. The amount of bankruptcies is going through the roof. And we're not talking about lower level now, we're talking big ones. Amazon's cutting back, they're all cutting back. Despite what the portal people and the government propaganda are telling you, a few quick searches yourself will show you that businesses are collapsing. So if you cut welfare, which in and of itself is fine, because the Western world has become far too dependent on the state. The people don't need dependency, they need growth. And the only way we will have growth in the economy is if new money is brought in, because the old money has gone. And the only people who can do that is the trust and the trustee. So if you're cutting back on dependency, you have to replace it with something else to get people off dependency, do you not? Except the businesses are collapsing. So with nothing to replace it with, you actually need to increase dependency, not less. Basic policy. These are dangerous times. What happens with people who have no support? Chaos is what? That proposal, if it goes through, is going to generate chaos and mass unrest. Now, we can all blame Trump, but let's put it into perspective. He has 26 levels of national security below the top end of the deep state. He's circled by Rothschildian generals and others with badges of dishonour on their shoulders, snakes like Mnuchin in the Treasury. Langley is split into 3 sections, all fighting for different factions, and a vice president who's done deals with Pelosi to make him the president in place of Trump. Threats from the likes of Eric Prince and private mercenary contractors, dragon groups, fake Chinese elders, and if all that wasn't enough, we have the Egyptian Israelite group who appear to have Trump in their back pocket, a son-in-law who works with Mossad, a daughter who switched their religion to Judaism, and the fact that he was bailed out of bankruptcy at least 3 times by, guess who? The Rothschilds. And that's ignoring what dirt Trump has got up to before the presidency and the cover-up of that. What you're left with is not a pretty picture, but it can be changed by we the people. By 2020, November 2020, unless things change, which they can very quickly, I might add, I would like to see the people turn against all politicians and politics and demand a real change. Because the answer's not putting the Democrats back in. Remember Obama for 8 years, going to change everything. What did he change? Quite a lot, really. For the worse, as well as selling out the people of his own colour. We the people can change the landscape with just a little bit of effort. You don't like Wall Street? Pull your money out. Don't like certain or all banks? Pull our money out. Don't like corporate shopping conglomerates like Amazon? Don't buy their goods. Don't like it certain oil companies? Don't buy their gas. By cutting off their money supply, pay down your mortgages, pay down your credit cards. Remember, they rely on our interest payments. No interest payments, no funds to play games with us. When you go shopping, ask yourself, do I really need this item? Be a bit mean with yourself and instead use that money saved to pay off interest. Because when you pay off interest, you will have so much more financial freedom in and of yourself. Go and analyse how much interest payments you're making on mortgages and credit cards and loans per month. There's whole families living on less than what you're paying on interest. Stop competing with each other. No keeping up with the Joneses will end most of their financial stranglehold on us. So instead of getting a tax refund and buying a new car, pay down your interest-bearing accounts. That is being the change. Look what happened to Monsanto or the vaccine industry. We, the people, have hammered them into oblivion almost, where the system now decides they're going to ban people off platforms promoting it. Anti-vaccine. Yes, you, Facebook. That is, we, the people, exercising our imprint on them, not the other way round. So if the alt media can come together on them, why not the rest of the system? Celebrate what you have, not what society tells you that you need. It's all a trap. As mentioned last week, we in the Western world are still, by and large, amongst the world's top 15%. A sobering statistic in and of itself. It is us in the westernized world that feeds the beast. And it's time we got our thinking caps on how we the people starve the beast. No more of our money going to feed the military industrial complex in this country or others. They don't protect us. They protect the system. But if the system has nothing left, they have nothing to protect. End the thought programming that joining the military is somehow an object of pride. It's not. It's a lesson in stupidity, where you risk yours and your children's lives to feed lard-arsed CEOs and generals who are consumed by greed, ego and sacrifice. And for what? Your freedoms? What a load of bollocks that is. People are only free when they are in control of their own lives. No matter what the American agency-based think tanks tell us. We in America were never free. It's a total illusion. Home of the brave? That's yet to be decided. Currently the jury's out. All these actions to some might just seem small, but like Monsanto and the vaccine exposure, it has a ripple effect. For another example, the Yellow Vest movement. Look how quickly it spread. And yes, we know there's rogue elements in there playing games. It just takes each of us to look at our own life and lifestyles, where we put our money and where we spend it. At the moment, that choice currently is ours. Use it. We have to focus on where we are going. And yes, it might just seem, oh, it's only me. If I pull my money back, that's not going to make much difference. It does. It has a ripple effect. Who'd have thought 32 countries would ban Monsanto? Who did that? We did. So many people around the world now, particularly in the Western countries, saying that they don't want vaccines. We did that. just your voice, which became somebody else's voice, which became somebody else's voice, and on it went. So much so that they're trying to ban people now who are anti-vaccine. It won't work. It will increase it, because that's the way it works. So it's not just one person doing it. It's about encouraging us all to do it. Look at where you're spending your money. It is your money, remember. No, the banks seem to think the minute you put it in there, it belongs to them. And you have to pay to get it out. Really. Look at what you're spending on. How can you get your interest down? Switch cards. You'll pay a one-off interest fee for switching one to another, where you get interest for no interest payments for 12 or 18 months. Take a bit off, put it on another card. Works out about $30 per $1,000. But then you're not paying any interest for the next 12 or 18 months. Cut it out. They're relying heavily now on our interest payments. It's all they've got left. Because there is no new money. There's plenty of new money, but they're not ready to accept it yet, including the government. But eventually they'll have no option.